It's happening. Hey, we're live right now. This is Jay Marazzo, and it's the AIM Report. Today we have a very special guest, the one and only Vince Tunzi. Let me get Vince on the screen real quick. Hey, there we are. Vince, it looks professional.
Oh,
It says AIM Report above your head. There's a date beneath us. I love it. So, today, let's talk about this. Why are we doing this today? Because we had a little inspiration yesterday thinking about it. We were just having some car guy talk yesterday.
we were talking about, we were trying to talk and figure out where the most profitable element of an accessory sale that takes place in the showroom, where's the actual majority of that profit that sale revenue generates? And, no surprise to you and I, but, we service labor sale, man. It just, as we started looking at some of the year end stats from 2020, just the enormity of the total revenue generated for internal accessory labor sales was a huge number, and you know it it, it, it begs to be spoken about. I mean, it's like the
Well,
best kept secret in the accessory
Well,
business,
let's
right?
stop there. Why? Why? Because we went there yesterday, and how we got there was we were working with our team, and the topic came up as far as who do we connect with at the dealership? Where is the success level? What happens? And we went down that road talking about the way the car business used to be, as far as that word, Vince, that I'm going to ask you to repeat, absorption, and the way the car business is right now. And when we talk about it, we started talking about it. We started thinking, yeah, well, yeah. Why doesn't this conversation happen? Because any person who does what we do for a living in the realm of accessories, it's always talking about one department. It's pretty much how to make it work in sales, which it has to. But
Right.
why do you feel that this conversation about service labor sales, absorption, effective labor rate, why doesn't that happen? You think?
That's a great question. I think a lot of
Hold on for one
on the
second.
sales side, variable op.
You're breaking up a little bit.
And
Hold on. I'm going to ask you to stop for one second. We're losing our news feed from the satellite. I think we're using NBC satellite today. And let's see, make sure that. Okay, try again. You there?
um, you brought up absorption, and I know that our signal is getting kind of weak here, Jay. So
It's okay.
we can go through it because, hey, guess what? This is the real world, and you gotta play through your mistakes to get to the end of the game,
If it
right?
can
And you
happen to
learn from the
Fox and
mistakes.
CNN, it can happen to us. I mean, we don't exactly have their budget, and I saw them to happen to them, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, for sure. The only difference is we don't have the cut to no signal, red, green, black, yellow, blue bars. But the bottom line that we want to start this conversation about is that key word you said, service absorption, right? And I think from a variable operations perspective, sales guys, we don't really know what the hell that means. So when working with sales guys, it's an uncomfortable conversation, not just for associates to go in and talk to dealer associates. It's also because we don't know on the outside what it means. It's a pretty hidden secret. I guess that's compounded by really dialed in fixed operations folks. They're busy all the time, right? It's called fixed for a reason. They have a process and a culture and a system, and the wheels keep turning. There's no stopping the machine. It is fixed, and you don't stop that assembly line towards
Exactly.
absorption.
Exactly. But I want to get back to
You
this
know,
question. Why doesn't that of people who do what we do, which is, we're retail automotive consultants, brand consultants, but I'm going to stay specifically about accessories. How come this conversation doesn't come up? I've whenever I looked at anyone that I guess, well, there are competition, looking at competition, and or what other conversations I've heard from dealership personnel, this is not a topic that's addressed. And I'm going back to that. Why is that, you think?
Well, I think there's probably a lot of reasons for that, right? Like most businesses, dealerships operate in the with the silo mentality, right? Your department starts at this wall, and my department starts on the other side of that wall, and his department starts over there, and the intermingling of the different languages or cultures of departments kind of prevent us from talking. So it's really, I think those conversations, Jay, do take place, but they only take place at very high executive levels, right? Dealer principal, a general manager that is operating as a dealer principal, and a fixed operations manager, and maybe, the controller or CFO is looking at that fixed operations, because again, I'll use that cliche that they call it fixed for a reason, because it's set it, forget it. You could count on it pretty much every month, barring, COVID, which we probably did better in fixed when we cut expenses, but
Yeah.
It's fixed, right? We open at 7. We know there's going to be 30 cars there. We know how many parts are on repair orders. We know how many labor lines are on a repair order. We know the efficiency rate of our technician. We know what we're paying our service advisor. There's no there's no variable, right? It's 1 + 1 is 2 always. And on the sales side, in the variable operation side, it's 1 + 1 sometimes equals 1.
Or none.
Because you got to take away 2 to get to the 3 minus the 4.
Well, and that also creates that cultural disparity that we always talk about. It's the cultures between departments that make it the challenge. So after our discussion yesterday, it was like total. It was total. We were jamming. We were jamming like we were playing, like we were in your garage, jamming. You're on the drums. I don't play an instrument, so I guess I got a cowbell. But I was on cowbell, and after that discussion, how would we want to go back and address fixed operations managers if we're walking into another store to just bring up, not to necessarily have to participate in our application, but if they're going down the road of wanting to get into the accessory landscape, what are we telling them? What are a couple of things that we want to tell our service directors and general managers when it comes to accessories specific to absorption, effective labor rate, productivity? You go.
Yeah, well, thank you, because I'm chomping at the bits here as usual. But I got to tell you, I did a little digging around in preparation for this, and I came up with, and this is the part, if we had a whiteboard, I would stand up with my marker and mark up on the whiteboard. But here's some interesting information. February 2021. AIM, the accessory menu, 10,500 times a sales associate asked the customer, "You want to buy an accessory?" I mean, it really is that simple. 10,500 times. The response, 6,300 times. The response was yes. Yeah, I want to buy an accessory. So, okay, this is a sales operation, right? So 6,300 times, customer said yes. Well, what was the result of those 6,300 yeses? Here's an interesting statistic, Jay. Those 6,300 yeses generated 6,400 hours of internal labor sales nationwide. So almost 1.02 hours of labor sales is generated every time a customer says yes in the showroom. And this is where we kind of talked about yesterday, where we started going down this hole. Okay, well, let's go a little bit further. So those 6,400 hours generated 653,000 of revenue. And we know that, we're using semi-skilled technicians, hourly rate, flat rate guys and gals, semi-skilled BC techs, right? We're not using our highest paid tech. We're using our lowest paid tech. And we're doing this for a couple of reasons. And it's important to do a sidebar on that, because when we can keep those lower skill set techs busy and turning, what are we really doing? We're developing them. right?
Well,
We have
we're addressing an issue that's a giant issue right now in the automotive industry is trying to grow new techs and find new technicians. That in
yeah,
itself is probably one of the biggest challenges of automotive retail right now. And it doesn't help when you take a tech or master tech and ask them to put on a body side moldings or a spoiler. It's they're not happy. The shop, no one's happy when that happens. It's a bad
nobody's happy
formula.
with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
where's the gravy, right? But so if we drill this down a little bit further, $653,000 in revenue, 6,400 or 6,300 hours. Okay, so here's the interesting thing: the national average internal accessory labor rate for that sale type is just about $100. Within a couple dollars. Some are higher, some are lower, depending on the market. But let's use $100. Let's use $100 internal labor rate. And by the way, accessory sales, we don't use warranty time. We use retail labor times, right? So
Wink,
we're not
wink.
putting, yeah, right. We're not putting door edge guards on for 2/10. We're not putting body side moldings on for 3/10. We're getting an hour for that job, right? So you could beat the book, and the fixed ops directors out there that are maximizing profitability and leveraging up their absorption are you're paying a $20, $21, $22, $23 an hour semi-skilled technician, and you're charging your sales department $100 an hour. I don't know, Jay, but here in the Midwest where we live in the corn, that's a 73% margin. It's good work, right?
Oh,
And so when we talked about this yesterday, if I'm a fixed ops director and I'm running at 60, 70, 80% absorption, if I can pick up an extra 100 hours of labor sales a month, that goes right to my bottom line.
Yeah.
So I think, I think one of the things is we never really focused on fixed ops because it's always, we got to get the sales department to do it first. And I guess the thing is, if fixed ops wants to pad that, and I'm trying to sanitize what I want to say. The bottom line is this: you're rocking and rolling. You're rocking and rolling in a fixed ops department, and you're carrying the load. And if you could bring in an extra 25, 30 grand in labor sales a month, just by getting your sales department to go, you want to buy an accessory, doesn't that impact that bottom line in a big way?
And it requires a perceptual change too. Something what we've said forever is that like an ASM, are they a parts salesperson? In a way, they are. ASMs, the service drive. You're working in the service drive, and you're selling labor. You're also selling parts. You are a parts salesperson, like it or not. But if we start looking at our sales consultants as accessory or labor sales that they sell labor to, it changes the dynamic of how we work together in a dealership. So we've got to start looking at each department as no, they're not just they don't just work for sales department. They work for us too. They sell labor hours. Parts departments can say, they sell accessories. So it's a big shift in how we look at a dealership operation.
It is. And, the real beauty of fixed operations is, they can tell you in a good fixed operation department, looking at all of the tools and resources available to data mine your own information, right? You look at data. We're in the data business all day long. And so if we go back to this, so let's go back to that 10,500 times that a salesperson said, want to buy an accessory to a new car buyer. And we sold 6,400 internal labor hours on 10,500 at bats. That means every time a salesperson says you want to buy an accessory, the service department sells 0.6 of an hour in labor sales. So, what service is good at, fixed operations is really good at, telling you exactly and knowing exactly how we got there. In sales, we're not so much on that, right? Because there's more emotions and personalities involved. You don't you have to deal with the high emotions of buying a car, and we're always in a hurry to get that customer out of the showroom because we're so time sensitive. We don't want anything to screw up the deal.
Well,
We already got
and
the customer to say yes.
we don't quantify things as much. Things are less quantifiable in that arena. In fixed operations, things are more quantifiable. So when you can process them more, you can quantify them more. You can create. That's why, again, what you said. It's fixed. This is the way. This is the way we do it. So
Right.
so
Right.
I'm going to go back to what you just said. I'm sorry. I want to quantify this. So what you said is every single time a sales consultant offers to a customer an accessory or accessorization on our platform that we know because we can measure on our platform. What does that mean to a service director?
It means 6/10 of an hour of labor sales for every ask. In
For
other
every
words,
ask.
for every ask. Forget about, so okay, so let's drill that down 1 second. So, we can tell you as a fixed ops director, I can tell you exactly how many labor hours and parts per line per repair order, right? There's a standard metrics. There isn't a service manager, assistant service manager, fixed op director out there that couldn't
Like
like
that.
that
If they
tell you
can't,
what the number is.
there's a problem.
Right. And so I would say, the opportunity lies in creating awareness at the fixed ops level in accessory sales. In fact, I had an email go out this morning to a fixed op director that I was motivated to reach out to last night. And, I closed the email. Listen, if your sales department's not generating these kind of results, call me. We're happy to do a consultation to get them engaged because, we've been trying to get sales departments engaged, but for some reason or other, in some situations, we can't. So I think the opportunity for not just a dealer group, or an OEM like Toyota or anybody else that is looking to get in the business, you want to be in the accessory business, you got to understand the opportunities and the benefits beyond adding a couple of bunts of front end gross on the if come maybe that a customer says, hey, I want a step bar for my SUV. We need to have a fixed process
Well, we
to present
need
accessories
to.
every time.
We want the best of both worlds because there's things that we can do in variable operations that are more challenging in service. We're more mutable. We can jump around. We can put things together that normally wouldn't be put together. There is more variables. Just a pre-owned, just taking a car in a
Yeah.
trade variable. It's just gonna be. However, what we can get from our fixed operation partners is that process. So, but I'm moving forward, and this is to any service director that sees this right now. For every time up at bat, that's 6/10 of labor hours right now, statistically. That's fact. That's not conjecture. Correct?
That's not conjecture. I know, absolutely
That
not.
is absolute
And that
fact.
is
And we have the numbers to
absolute
back
fact.
it up.
Absolutely. And that's a microcosm of the data set we have. And so there's a couple of points I would add to that, Jay. One would be we've been doing this most of our lives, but we've been using this AIM accessory website menu system, digital WEO and order fulfillment system. We've had this in place for several years now, and we've got analytical data going back to 2018. And you want to know something? When I expand the date range for this data mine for these KPIs, these indicators, it doesn't change. So I looked at it. So I just did February as a topic talking point here today, but I'll tell you, I went back to January 2018 through yesterday, and I'm looking at 600,000 times salesperson offered. And I'm looking at 370,000 times the customer said yes. And you know what didn't change? 6/10 of an hour of labor sales every time the customer says yes.
So that is just as consistent in everything else. So let's just do
It's fixed. It's
fixed. Now we have the title of this. The title of this podcast will be, or video cast will be, "It's Fixed." So let's just real quick. I'm a fixed operations director. I have 8 salespeople. Okay, each salesperson sells 15 cars a month or 15 opportunities. Okay, so times 8, that is 120. If I
120.
120, if I can capture just 80% of those opportunities, just 80%, that's 96 units times, you said point 0.6. That's 57 hours of labor sales based on 8 salespeople selling only 15 cars a month. That's a small dealership, and we're going to say about $100 an hour retail. That's an extra 57.60 just from getting.
Well, yeah. Now let me
And that's
pull this
just
back.
that's just a labor sale.
Yeah, that's just a labor sale. But let's stay on that for a second, because sometimes we hear objections about, I don't really have the head count, I don't have the space, I don't have the capacity. My guys are busy. I'm 3 weeks out for appointments. Well, it sounds like you need more techs. I mean, no disrespect, fixed ops directors, but if you got a waiting list 3 weeks long to get people into your shop, I don't know.
Plan B. We need more.
I don't know. I don't know. Bird in the hand. I don't know. But think about that number and the way you just broke it down. You said, okay, 8 salespeople, 15 opportunities a month, 120. That brought you down to 96. And then how many labor hours was that? 56 labor hours, Jay? Was that what it was?
Yeah, 57, 56, something like that. Yeah.
All right. So, and then the average internal labor rate nationwide is $100 an hour. So that means $5,800 in revenue,
Yeah.
straight to the bottom line of the service department. I don't know. Seems like you could hire a semi-skilled tech for $5,700 a month and develop them and grow them to shorten that waiting list down to 2 weeks or 3 days, or a future valuable employee. I'm being a smartass, and I'm sorry, but it's that simple.
That's just to one
It's that
department.
simple.
We're not even talking about what the parts department picked up. We're not talking about anything else, which we'll do that in another cast. But just for this one, for that example, I almost think we should have a calculator. If you're a service manager, how many salespeople do you have? How often do you think you can present? This is what you could be gaining.
Yeah, I don't remember who said it, but if you look at that type of data, first you annualize it, then you decatize it. I think that was a Toyota executive that once said that.
It might have been.
First you annualize those numbers, and then you take it over 10 years, and you're talking about real money. So let's say the average Toyota dealer sells 1,000 new vehicles a month. Okay. That's 1,000 opportunities. Let's take 20% of that and throw it out the window. 800, 1,000 a year. I mean, I think I said a month, but let's say you have 800 opportunities a year, 800 times 0.6 times $100. How much is that? 800 times 0.6. Let's just do that.
Yeah, we're both doing it. You do it first.
800 times.
Hold on, we got a little slowdown. We're breaking up. Hold on for 1 second. Again, if it can happen to CNN, it can happen on. If it can happen at the Oscars. Okay, what's that math one more time?
$48,000 a year in internal labor sales. So 800 times 0.6 is 480 times $100 an hour is 48,000. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but over 10 years, that's $500,000. More importantly, that 48,000 times 72% margin, it's $35,000 profit to the bottom line. Now, and that's a dealership that sells 1,000 cars a year. Hey, wake up! That's 80 cars a month.
Yeah.
Now let's look at a dealership that does 250 cars a month.
Oh.
Now you're, which is more like the majority of Toyota dealers in major metros, right?
Yeah.
250 times 0.6, that's 150 labor hours a month times 12 months. That's 1,800. That's $180,000 of internal accessory labor sales at 70% margin.
So, listen, the math doesn't lie. We got all the analytics. We got all the history. And the reporting is instantaneous. So because of the application being in so many Toyota dealerships right now, the data is sound. So that gives us the ability to drill things down and show the complete opportunity from each department. And again,
Yeah.
we're looking from a service manager perspective. Every single time I look at a service manager, all I'm going to think is every time someone presents, it's point 0.6. Point 0.6 every single time someone presents. What does that
Yeah.
mean? Every single time someone presents, it's point 0.6 to you. That's what
Point
it means.
six.
Point 0.6.
Point six. Listen, we beat our heads up against the wall in fixed stops to try and sell one more set of wiper blades on a customer pay ticket.
Or how about the buy three get one free tires? A lot of times that's not the fun. It's not a fun time. Sometimes, you know.
No, we exactly. Point is, we do a lot of price leaders to get people in the service drive so we can add a line of service or product. This isn't a secret. The ups, I think I think you used an example the other day about French fries that really made a lot of sense, right? But it's all about the upsell. You go through a drive-through, and the first thing they say before they tell you to pull, the last thing they say before they say pull up to the window is, "Did you want to add the fries, or did you want to make that a large size Coke, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." Right? And we do the same thing in the service drive. I don't know if you know this about me, Jay, but at one point in time in my consulting career, I did a project for Olive Garden restaurants.
I do,
and it was a real short term, and we boiled down the job description for servers at Olive Gardens to 2 sentences. First sentence: decrease waste and increase revenue. And then the whole job description expanded from that. If you think about a food server, their job is to sell you the appetizer, a cocktail, a salad, a soup, an entree, and a dessert, and an after dinner drink. So they get that average ticket count up. We don't do anything different in fixed operations in auto dealerships. Customer comes in to drive. Today we're giving away the maintenance, right? And we're locked in. We're fixed on what we can bill the manufacturer for the prepaid maintenance, right? That comes with the car. And we went from oil changes every 3,000 to 10,000.
Absolutely,
right?
We are now. Our business models have changed completely. We are definitely a maintenance model.
Absolutely, I'd say to fixed op directors out there right now, if I could show you how to add 0.6 of an hour for every new car you deliver, how about if I could add 0.6 of an hour for PDIs for every PDI you do?
Yeah, what does that mean?
They go, yeah,
do the math.
Yeah, I'm in. We'll do the math. How many cars do PDI in a month? 150 times 0.6. That's a payday for everybody. I can hire another tech. I can develop people. Well, we can do that through accessory sales.
And let's think of for 1 second. Let's stop for 1 second. I once did a class, a workshop for DMs, DSPMs for field travelers, and to go and also for parts managers and service managers on how to talk to your GM. It was literally how to present your case. Because if you're going to your general manager and saying, well, I want to do this because it's a really good idea and someone else is doing it, they're going to say, well, what's the ROI? How does it pencil out? Let me see it. What's the numbers? Let's do the math. Can you do the math and bring it to me? So the whole thing was basically, showing them what do they want to do? What project do they want to take? Start doing the actual math of it. Build the business case of what it's going to cost you, what your expenses are, for this project, and what's the return going to be. Then present it. Well, isn't this an easy way to present this to a general manager or a dealer principal? 0.6 for every single presentation. Every single presentation up there is 0.6 extra. And that's just me. Parts manager's got a whole different presentation for himself. So this is, I think, a huge advantage that we have in this landscape, because not only do we have, in my opinion, the best application, but I think we have the best minds in automotive retail in what we do.
Well, I agree. Our application is probably the best. We're emotionally attached to it. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm going to step back, and I'm going to be a student in my industry. I've been in this business since 1979. And I'll tell you what, nothing's changed. The more people you ask to buy your products or service, the more people buy your products or service. We have dealers that are effective because they have dialed in processes and cultures that meet and converge at the point of purchase and throughout the life cycle of a customer value, right? So, 0.6, man. It's 0.6. We should get little stamps on our forehead, 0.6, because
0.6.
It doesn't. It does. You said it right. The math doesn't lie. And when you look at 230 Toyota dealerships nationwide, month in, month out, and that number does not fluctuate. Point 0.6 is the internal accessory labor value of every time a sales consultant says, "You want to buy an accessory?" I mean,
Excellent. Just shows them.
it sounds so stupid, but we just love to complicate the crap out of everything we do in variable ops.
Well,
which is why I think the approach you're talking to, dialed in fixed ops managers, they get it.
completely they get
it.
And the objection is always, but they don't get it. Well, if you understood this, if you understood the math, you'd be more motivated to push, because then you're going to bring it right to your GM, and this is a whole different discussion. And going back to French fries, in the sales department, where the reason why they don't want to offer it is because, well, we just sell the frozen French fry. I don't know how much it is to fry them. So let me make a call and get the cost today of frying the French fries, and that'll get your price. McDonald's, if they try to sell French fries that way, they're not selling French fries. Ever. They bake it all in, man. Make it easy to sell, make it easy to buy, and people will buy more often.
That analogy begs for more color on it. And, I'm playing this out in my mind. Yeah, I'd like some French fries with that. Okay, well the fries are 89 cents. And it costs 62 cents to fry them.
Yeah.
But you got to pay for the oil and the heat, and I got to get back to you.
And also, I got to call my parts department. I got to figure out how much the actual the holder is, little paper thing to put them in, because I don't know what that is.
Well, you recently, Jay, in another discussion we had with some dealers, you recently used the term omni channel presence for accessory sales. One place, all things retail installed accessories, right? And so I think we can get salespeople to say, you want to buy an accessory more frequently if fixed and variable operations can get together and lock in and fix the accessory price, right? Because the reason salespeople don't want to do it is the main reason. There's a lot of reasons.
The French fry. We're going to call it the French fry paradox. We don't right. The French fry paradox.
Right. The French fry paradox. But we need to fix that. They don't have the confidence to ask that question because they don't know what happens behind the other side of the wall. They don't know what the oil costs or the heat that generate the fryer temperature to 425, and they don't want the headache. So past experiences drives future behaviors. And that's why, sales consultants shy away and only, offer accessories to people they think want to buy accessories, or when customers demand, you sell me an accessory. I'm not leaving till I get the cooked golden brown French fries with salt.
Well, the salt, hold on. I got to make a phone call. He didn't tell you about the salt. Well, this has been a excellent cast.
Well, Jay, I just want to add one more thing. If there is a service director, fixed ops director, general manager, dealer, principal that wants to call bullshit on this, my number is 630-926-7533.
Hold on. We're gonna pop that up here. Hold on. I can't remember your number because everything's on speed dial now. So 630
926.
Keep going.
7533. I'll take a beating or a challenge any day of the week from anybody that wants to have a conversation about 0.6.
Your phone number is actually up there right now, so you're gonna call Vince Tunzi right here, and he is ready to go toe to toe with you. So, in closing, buddy,
just be nice. Don't swear at me, but call bullshit.
Oh, you'll like it. Come on, you'll like it if someone swears at you. You enjoy it. It feels like home.
I do. It makes it real.
So, for Jay Marazzo and our guest Vince Tunzi, any last words before we wrap this today's extended edition of Dane Report? That's it. Okay, brother. Have a great day.
Thanks for the opportunity, Jay.
Later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.